Hi everyone. So I welcome you all in our ongoing series on vehicle dynamics and ongoing 10-day long free webinar series on vehicle dynamics. So this is the fifth day, and in the first 4 days we have already discussed about the chassis frame design and the fundamental, the base of the vehicle dynamics, which we have discussed in the very first day. Right? I hope you all, whosoever has been watching all these sessions from the very first day itself, I hope you all are learning everything. Like if you all are enjoying my sessions. If not, then I'm really sorry, but you do have to go through the first video itself and start scrolling down so that you could understand more about the topics that we are discussing. Okay guys? Okay. So in the first 4 days, so in the first day we have discussed about the fundamentals of the vehicle dynamics, the origin of the vehicle dynamics, and what do you exactly mean by the vehicle dynamics. In the second day, with a bit of the hint, we moved on with the geometrical interpretation and the physical interpretation of the go-kart, not a go-kart, I just took a recent session on a go-kart, that's why that word came out of my tongue. We got to know about the vehicle structure, and then in the third day, in the fourth day, we discussed or we got into more depth of the chassis frame design, where we discussed about the polar moment of inertia, area moment of inertia, the mass moment of inertia, and all the implication of these inertias, the implication of these principles in the designing of the chassis frame structure. Though we have got very less time to discuss these things, if we just have to go along with the chassis frame design, I think 1 week continuously is not sufficient to complete the topic. But I just want to give you something which are not readily available on internet, or for which the people haven't discussed these topics in the textbooks. We all know about the mass moment of inertia, area moment of inertia, polar moment of inertia, or whatsoever the principles that we have discussed till now. We have already read each and everything either in our engineering or in our preliminary education in the schools. But the only thing is to draw those things down in a particular pattern and then present it, to use the same articulated words, same articulated structure, the principles into designing of a chassis frame structure is what I want to tell you. Right? So I believe that you guys might have got a basic or a bit of gist of designing the chassis frame structure, how these things actually impact the design of the chassis frame. Right? Most of the times people just talk about, when we talk about the chassis frame structure, they only talk about the strength of the material. Right? People used to just talk about the strength of the material, or most of the designers, most of the people who used to take these workshops, or the people who are available online and provide these webinar services, or the online courses that you see in the market right now that are floating around. These people only used to talk about the ergonomics when we talk about the chassis frame structure, or they talk about reducing the weight of the structure and then start analyzing all these things over various softwares, for which again you have to take a different training. But what I believe is, like, if you are an engineer, it's your responsibility to know these things in depth. Wait for a moment. Okay. Now I'm really sorry, I have to turn this alarm off on my mobile. I'm recording this video, this session on a mobile phone, so I have to just turn that alarm off because it's morning 5, I guess. That's why alarm beeped on. Okay guys, so where were we? Okay, I was just telling you about the bit of reality, that is what is happening in the motorsports. So now, you got these things as an engineer, you already know these terms. Now all you need to do you have to use these fundamentals in solving your real life problems, or in solving your problems associated with the subject. Right? Okay. So I will start this session with a bit of information regarding the engineering parameters. Right? We have already discussed about the physical parameters that include these inertias, the bending loads, the torsional loads. Right? I haven't taken this torsion into depth because we have got this limited period of time, and I believe that you already know about these things. And if you don't, please find the relevant videos on internet, or just go through your textbooks, your strength of material textbook, you will find those things and start solving the numericals. Start solving the numerical related with this thing, right? Make the matrix of your wheelbase and track with related with these principles, the different principles. Get the curve, get the floating curve down, right? Once you get these things, I can definitely bet on this thing. You would be a much better engineer than before, right? Okay. Now, if we talk about the material that we use, the material the material that we use. I told you earlier the material that we have to use, it should have the higher cross section to have higher bending moment, right? To have higher bending moment. But if I talk about the intrinsic properties of the material, which kind of material do you require for the chassis frame structure? People used to often talk about AISI 1018 or AISI 4130. We can pick up any material out of those, or 1020, because these are the common materials available in India, of which 4130 is the most expensive. 1020 and 41018 are a bit of the same rate, right? They are a bit of the same rate, right? Okay, so why 4130, why 1018, and what do you mean by this AISI, ISO, ASTM, and what do you mean by this 1, this 0, this 1, and this 8? Right? This 4, this 1, this 3, 0. Right? And this 1 0 or 1 or 2 0 or 2 or 0. What do you mean by these terms? And what do you mean by the full forms of this AISI, ASTM, ISO, SAE, all the standards that are available in the market? I want you all to search it down. It's your homework. I won't be telling these things in the video. I won't be spoon feeding each and everything. Right? So these things are easily available. Please find it out. And if you are watching this video, just pause this video for a moment, because we are, I guess, premiering this video on the YouTube. So pause this video right now, Google it down in the comment box. Just tell me that you are present and you know the full form of AISI. If you don't know the full form, Google it down and tell me what is the full form of AISI, ISO, ASTM, SAE. And what do you mean by 1020, 4130, 1018? What does this 4, this 3, 0, this 1 denotes? Cool? Okay, I expect the replies from each one of you. Even if you are an amateur engineer or if you are an experienced individual, I seek an answer from you. Okay guys. So what kind of material do we need? So before getting into this, let me tell you, we all have studied the stress and strain curve. I believe we all have studied the stress and strain curve, for which most of the students haven't given proper attention to. Right? But stress and strain curve is something for a mechanical engineer. You have to read this thing again and again, even in the final year. If you guys are in the final year, or if you are guys get into the final year in a year or two, you will find this thing. This is the most relevant question in all the interviews. Stress and strain curve. Stress and strain curve. Okay guys, if I ask you to draw me the stress and strain curve, what will you do? I want you to pause down the video and think for a moment. Pause down the video and think for a moment. If someone asks you readily, like you are appearing for an interview, and the interviewer suddenly asks you, draw me the stress and strain curve, what will you do? Or if someone asks you to draw me the simplest stress and strain curve, what will you do? Let's not go with the simplest term, it won't justify the stress and strain curve. What will you do? Now, I believe I have asked this question to the thousands of students. Like for the last 4 or 5 years, I have been taking continuous workshop. I have interacted with almost thousands of students. When I asked this question to almost all the designers, like some of the people readily got confused in what they did. So stress and strain curve, okay sir. Why? If I ask you to draw the stress and strain curve of a mild steel, then maybe this is true. But let's go with the basics, very basic level of this thing. If I ask you to draw me the stress and strain curve, it means the plot between abscissa and ordinate. A plot between abscissa and ordinate. So a plot between abscissa and ordinate. See. Is this not the stress and strain curve? It could be of any material, I haven't specified it. Or even if I specify the stress and strain curve for the mild steel, let's not go with what you have seen in your textbook. Let's go with let's go with the kind of material that are available in the market actually. So please go through the website of Tata Steel, Jindal Steel, or the other steel manufacturers in India, JSW Steel. Go to their catalogs, go to their websites, and find the stress and strain curve of the steel that they are providing. Many of the manufacturers have already uploaded the stress and strain curve of the material that they are providing, or download some of the sample test specimens of the local laboratories near to you, right? Or just download the local specimen copies of the material that are available in the local markets that has been tested in any of the laboratories across India. Right? Just find these things, right? Find these things. You will find out the actual stress and strain curve of a steel, of a mild steel, is completely different than what you have studied in the textbook. What you have studied in the textbook is the ideal condition, or the symbolic representation for the better understanding of the students. You got this thing? Okay, now you will realize lately this stress and strain curve is very important and plays a very vital role in the material selection of a chassis frame structure, or for anything that you are going to use in your vehicle, anything that you will design by yourself. Other than the engine and the tires, everything is going to be manufactured or designed by the students. Right? So you should be able to know about the stress, and you should be able to know of the stress and strain curve of individual material that you are using, and which material do you have to use to manufacture a particular component. Maybe for a chassis frame design you need a certain kind of material, maybe for the hubs you need a different kind of material, for the knuckle you need a different kind of material, and we will be discussing each and every kind of material. What kind of material do you require for individual component? Yes guys. So stress and strain curve. Stress and strain curve. Okay, let me go with any of the typical example. This is the stress and strain curve. And I'm going to break it down in the different department. This is the percentage strain X, Y, this is the value, and this is some value. This is some value. Okay, this point is known as yield strength. Take it as the yield strength. This point is known as tensile strength, or in this position I will call it the ultimate tensile strength. Right? Yield strength and the ultimate tensile strength. Okay, what do you mean by yield strength? Yield strength is the point after which, or resistance of an object after which the permanent deformation occurs. In this position the permanent deformation occurs. It means I'm sorry, if I am just pulling this pen so hard, so very hard, make sure, see, what kind of load am I applying? Axial load, right? Axial compressive or axial tensile. I am not applying the bending load here. Yes, we have discussed this in the last video. I am applying the axial load. So when I apply the axial load, yield strength or tensile strength of the material comes into play. Now after certain level, like if I am having, which thing should I have to take? Here in this room? Do I have anything? Yeah, I can take this rubber. Yeah, see, take it as a steel. Take this rubber as a steel. See, this is its initial position, length. Now if I apply a load, see, I am applying a load, axial tensile load. Its length increased now. See, when I lose the load, when I don't apply the force, it will come back to its original position. This is known as elastic deformation, in which when you apply the load, the position or the deformation occurs, and when you take the load out, when you won't apply the force, right? When you deload your vehicle, what will happen? Deload your material, what will happen? The material will come back to its original position. See this thing? Right? See this thing? This is known as elastic deformation. This is the position of elastic deformation. For all the force that I have applied, see, I have started to apply the force. More power. Along this curve when I am moving, the stress that is being generated inside it, is increasing. I am actually increasing the quantity of force and the stresses involved with it are actually increasing. At this point, this is known as yield strength. This is known as yield strength. After which, if I apply any more load, I would be able to witness the permanent deformation. Permanent deformation. Now, again, this happens. I am applying more and more force. What will happen? After certain value, this will break. This is known as ultimate tensile strength. And this portion is known as plastic deformation. This portion is known as elastic deformation. Now, most of you will say, sir, I already know about this thing. Why are you talking about something which we have studied in the very first year of engineering? And each one of who is watching this video already knows about this thing. So why are we discussing this thing? Because I want to build the basic grounds for your understanding. Because what I am going to discuss now, have you considered this area? Or have you ever considered this area? And what is the relevance of these two areas in deciding the kind of material that you have to use in your vehicle for different components? Right? Okay, now this portion is known as Young's modulus or the modulus of elasticity. Right? Elasticity. Yes, the area under this portion is known as modulus of elasticity, and the area under this portion is known as modulus of resilience. Yes, this is elasticity and this is resilience, and it denotes the energy absorbed by the material. I am not talking about strength, stress or strain. In having X percentage of strain, in stretching the X percentage of the length, or in compressing the X percentage of the length, energy absorbed by the material. Energy absorbed by the material could be in the form of heat. If I am applying the load, its length is increasing, its temperature will also increase because something is happening, right? Or it could reduce, anything can happen. Right? Energy absorbed by the material during this process of elastic deformation is known as elasticity, and energy absorbed by the material during this deformation of plastic deformation is known as modulus of resilience, and the area under this whole curve is known as toughness. This elasticity plus resilience is equals to toughness. You got this thing? Area under the elastic limit and the area under the resilience limit, permanent deformation limit, plastic deformation limit is known as toughness. Now, till now you haven't got, okay sir, I got this till now. Just tell me what is its relevance? Now here comes the relevance. If I have got the option to choose between the two kind of materials for my chassis frame structure, I am participating in an event, a very good racing event where the speed matters. What matters? The speed matters. Consider that you are building a go-kart, you are manufacturing a go-kart, you are designing a go-kart, or maybe a Supra car, but you don't have to rely on the active suspension system. Otherwise, what I am trying to explain, you will start getting more loopholes in what I am trying to explain. I am just focusing on the parameters of the chassis frame, not on the suspension, steering or any of the parts right now. Okay, now we have got the options of two material, material A and material B. Material A and material B. Now see, the stress and strain curve for the material A, the stress and strain curve for the material B. 10%, 20%, 5% and take it 10%. The yield strength for both the materials is absolutely same. Take it 300 megapascal and take it 500 megapascal. Take it 300 megapascal. Take it 500 megapascal. Now what is the difference between these two materials? What is the difference between these two materials? The difference between these two materials, everything is same. Everything is same. The only difference is, or the only difference is the percentage strain. The only difference is percentage strain. Now, because the percentage strain, you can notice this thing, the area in this figure, the area, take it A, take it A dash. Here, take it B. Here, take it B dash. Area of A is greater than area of A dash, or the area of B is greater than area of B dash, or you could say the elasticity of A is greater than this is A material, take it X material and take it Y material. Now it's better. Elasticity of X is greater than elasticity of Y, and resilience of X is greater than resilience of Y. Or moreover, I can say toughness of A is greater than toughness of X is greater than toughness of Y. Then which material will you be using in your chassis frame structure? It could be disputable. You will say, sir, maybe the loads that are going to be applied on my vehicle are going to be lesser enough. But I say that you are working on the extreme conditions. This frame is going to be the more stiffer frame than the frame Y. You have got, sorry. This is more flexible than frame Y. You can see now the area under the curve increases the toughness, though they have got the exact same values of the yield strength and the tensile strength. Percentage strain decides. I am not saying like neither the material X, neither the material Y will break. Neither the material X, neither the material Y will fail, or neither they will break. 300 megapascal, 300 megapascal. If they have to go under the permanent deformation, both will go at the same load. Both will go at the same rate. The only difference is it will deform less and it will deform more. Got my point? How does this play a very crucial role? Now just pause this video for a moment and try to figure out, like if you are making a race car, what kind of material do you need? A stiffer frame or a flexible frame? Or even if you want to go with the stiffer or with the flexible frame, why? Right? Just pause this video for a moment and think about this thing by yourself. We will be discussing these things. You got this point? Now, even if I have to decide the material for my hub, knuckle, the same principle follows. Now, what do you mean by hardness? Hardness, yes. If I particularly talk about the hardness is the resistance to abrasion, indentation and penetration. Abrasion, indentation and penetration. Resistance of an object to abrasion, indentation and penetration. Now all this abrasion, indentation, penetration are easily visible from naked eyes, right? So this is the surface property, and hardness is very much different from the toughness, right? You got this thing? Sure? Okay. Now when we design our disc with the hardness, yes, just remember one more thing, this is a fast hand rule only. When you increase the hardness, your weldability of the material decreases. Now the cast iron, the hardness of a cast iron is very high because it has got a very high carbon percentage. If you increase the carbon percentage in the material, your hardness also increases. But the weldability on a cast iron is very difficult. Very difficult. You got my point? You got this thing? Right? Okay guys. So now, if we talk about the chemical composition of the material, first we have to deal with the chemical composition. Once we get to know about the proper chemical composition of the material, we can deal with what kind of material do we have to use for different components in the vehicle. What kind of material do you require for the hub or for the manufacturing of a disc. Generally, if I talk about the disc brake, if I talk about the rotor, if I talk about the material of the rotor, you should have to use a material whose thermal conductivity is very high, very high, right? Because the basic principle of this disc brake or the brake work is to convert the kinetic energy into heat energy. Your disc brake or the disc or the rotor's temperature will be raised in the normal condition will be raised to 70 to 80 degrees Celsius. In the racing session, it raises to almost 200 degrees Celsius or 140, 150 degrees Celsius. If I go with the professional races, if it even raises to 600 or 700 degrees Celsius. Yes, and to increase the thermal, we have to choose a material so that its thermal conductivity is very high, so that when you debrake your vehicle, when you don't brake your vehicle, it cools down very easily. And to cool it down, we used to have the petals, the holes inside the disc. Have you seen the holes and the petals, the structure inside the disc? Instead of using the solid disc, we use the holed disc. There are n number of holes inside the disc. Why do we have the holes inside it? To increase the perimeter of the surface. So that more surface of the disc can get in contact with the air. So that air can cool it down through conductivity. You got my point? Okay. Now, in the next video, like I won't be considering everything. I won't be talking about the complete things about the material selection, right? I'll leave it on you. There is a document available on LinkedIn with the name 21 constituents in steel. I want you all to go through this document. This document is available on LinkedIn, as well as I will be providing the link of this document in the comment section. Please find it out. Please find it. 21 constituents. In the description, I will be providing the link. In the description, I will be providing the link. 21 constituents in steel or of steel. Right? This is a very crucial document in which, like, very important and very good. Like someone whosoever has made it, I don't know. Please give all the credits to the author of this document. He did an amazingly well job, and everything has been described in the shortest possible format. Right? So you will be getting to know about the carbon, silicon, manganese, magnesium, phosphorus. It's used in the steel. When you talk about what is steel comprised of, you will say, sir, iron and carbon, and sir, chromium and molybdenum, and I don't know. Everything that is there in the periodic table, you can use any element in the formation of a steel. At different temperatures, maybe at different conditions, maybe we are going to add it down. But what is its relevance of using that component in steel? For reference, for example, if I have to give you an example, if I add more and more carbon into steel, its tensile strength increases. It means, like, if I have to make a like a kind of material whose tensile strength is very high, I can add more and more carbon into it. But when I add more carbon, the hardness of the material increases, which makes it brittle, as well as the weldability of such material reduces down drastically. Now, if I need 1000 megapascal strength, what should I do? If I go with the higher amount of carbon, my vehicle becomes unweldable. I can't weld it, or maybe its hardness or its brittleness increases by a very high count. I don't require brittleness. It's not desirable for the kind of structure that I am building. Then what do I have to do? Instead of using a carbon, I have to go with some other element that can add up to the tensile strength, but at the same time cannot increase the hardness or cannot increase the weldability of the material. You got this thing? So now, this document talks about the same. And whatever else is left that is not mentioned in this document, in the next lecture, tomorrow we will be discussing about it. You got my point? Tomorrow we will be discussing about it. Okay guys, bye.